Test Chamber returns with a look at Guild Wars 2, ArenaNet and NCSoft's new MMO. I'm your host, Andrew Reiner. I'm sick as a dog. I'm joined today by Matt Miller.
Hey, I'm not sick.
You look very chipper today.
I'm excited about this game.
And Adam Biessener.
I just finished being sick, so I'm excited not to be.
And
Why am I in a room with you guys?
Adam and I had a closed-door meeting last week, and I think he gave me this disease.
There you go.
Danger.
Which is killing me. So, Adam, you're up to level 55.
Something like that.
You've been playing the hell out of this game. I saw you have a bunch of alts as well.
Well, they're just name placeholders. I've been pretty much sticking with this guy.
So what are your thoughts on it so far?
I really like this game. It's a lot of fun. It is definitely a step forward for MMOs in a way that other recent MMOs really haven't been. In the way that it really pushes players to work together and to sort of experience the world as a little bit more of a living world than other MMOs have been. And the example I wanted to give, this is great. This is the human, one of the sort of near the human city, one of the starting zones. So this is my map. And I was kind of up here doing some adventuring. I was killing some bandits and whatnot. And I came down here, and there was a dude hanging out here who was supposed to make a delivery of ale that's being brewed in this brewery here. And so I was like, oh, sure, I should do that. So I jumped down, and I followed him down, and we came down the swamp. And we're going down this trail, and as I'm going down, like, we start out, and there's, like, 3 players. So me and a couple other players, a couple NPCs were escorting this, like, supply donkey thing. And we
is that the official name,
down.
Supply Donkey?
Supply donkey.
It has some dumb in-fiction name that
Adam,
I
a
don't care
frog!
about. Oh, God. Okay, we're gonna take care of that right now.
Wait, they're
Problem
enemies?
solved.
Just did 1,700 damage to that frog.
So, but as we're coming down, there's all of a sudden all these other players start showing up because there's all these UI elements that sort of point you towards these events going on. And so we end up with this crew of like 30 people rolling through the swamp, helping this supply donkey get where it's going. And like all these enemies keep spawning, and we're fighting, and we're escorting this thing, and it's
the most
super cool.
well-protected caravan ever.
So, and it was awesome. So, but the cool thing is I went, and it was a great time. It was like, 20 minutes to get through this thing. It was a great time. And then by the end of it, I've gotten like 3 more waypoints, almost an entire level. And I'm in the middle of this swamp, and there's all this other stuff going on. I'm like, what's going on with this portal? And I've already done it, so I'm not getting the objective here. But I'm like, what's going on with this portal? I go over and I start messing with it. And it's like, that's another quest. And it's just there, and you don't have to go talk to a quest giver. It's just there, and it's happening, and you can engage with it.
So the portal turned into this weird specter thing.
Yeah, it unleashed the weird specter thing, yes. Another thing I wanted to talk about. I could talk about this game all day, by the way, which you will soon find out. But, so I'm level 55. This is a level 16 zone, and I'm just down leveled to level 16 as I'm going through here.
What about the loot that you get then?
You actually get on level loot. It's generally not quite as good. I think there's a chance that it's on level, but I will find level 50 stuff in this zone.
That's awesome.
So
It's
you
really cool.
never out level any area in the game, so you can always go back to the starting zones for other races and all that kind of stuff. It's great.
So you don't have to have an alt to experience the zone the way it's meant to be. You could be anyone and go into the zones. That's very cool.
Exactly. But on that point, I should point out that I'm playing this as well, and I am playing 2 different characters kind of in tandem with each other because they offer such dramatically different play experiences. You don't have to have an alt in order to experience all the areas, but you do have to have an alt to get to try out all the cool different things that different classes provide. So, for instance, I've got an elementalist who I've got running around, and it's a kind of traditional kind of casting class in a lot of ways, but has some very unique mechanics. All of the abilities that you get in the game are based on the weapons that you have equipped, and then certain class elements. So with the elementalist, for instance, I can either be attuned to fire or attuned to air or water or earth. And each one of those sets of attunements changes what weapons I can, what the weapon skills that I get. And so there's all these different skills that you get to try out. So any one given class has a lot of complexity as you kind of learn the you kind of figure out your own path of how you're going to play that particular class.
So another cool thing that this game does is that we're not going to see it here because it's all sort of tied to the state of the server and what players are doing, and it's on kind of a timer as well. But as players knock out these portals and deal with this sort of undead incursion that's going on. Oh, that's it. That's right. Okay.
That guy's awesome.
He's a little bigger. That's okay.
Ride him!
So, but then, like, it chains into these other events that are going on. And so eventually, like, I fought this crazy huge raid boss with, like, 200 other players in the middle of this swamp. And it was awesome. It was just, like, this thing that was happening, and everybody just kind of joins up naturally.
So what you're saying is you're spending a lot of time in this swamp.
I have spent a lot of time in this swamp. We can go somewhere else.
All right, so we're taking a look at the map here. Oh, my goodness, it's huge. Adam, what are all those hearts there? Are those your honeys? Are those your ladies?
Adam's got 17 everywhere. Romantic interests in this game.
I have so many area codes and so many ladies that inhabit them. No. So over here you can see the sort of completion. And this is a zone I have 100%ed. But you get all these rewards. You get experience every time you find these things. These are vistas. These are points of interest. These are waypoints. These are quests. You get a bunch of experience. And then when you come 100% a zone, you get a big treasure chest full of stuff mailed to you. So it's super awesome and totally worth doing. And it's a great way. It's a great reason to go explore the whole world. Now, I've 100%ed several zones. Now, this zone itself probably took me about 2.5, 3, 4 hours to go through. I didn't actually time myself, but a while. And I've done several of them. As you can see, like kind of what I've unlocked, you can tell because the stuff I haven't been to is still very watercolor, right? But the awesome thing is like, hey, let's go check out something else. Why don't I just zoom in here and go like, blow.
Fast travel.
Fast travel. Oh my gosh. But it's like fast travel from anywhere. You don't have to like go talk to a dude.
And no timers.
No time. It's just, you just click on somewhere and there you go. Which is like, as a player, this is something that I'm like, thank you for finally doing.
What about you go into a big city? Can you fast travel within that city to different locations?
Yes.
Like
yes,
the
you
market?
can. And it's free if you're in the same city. Normally, it costs you a little bit of currency.
And even when it does charge you because you're going like halfway across the world, it is not a significant sum of money.
No.
And so it really encourages you to hop back and forth to the interesting areas of content.
That's the Dermond Priory, which is
big piece of ice.
Yeah, there's like these 3 groups, right?
Yeah, the 3 orders.
I love the idea that there's basically these 3 orders that each have different approaches to how they're going to take out the big threat of the game, which is these elder dragons that are attacking, right? Mm-hmm. And so one group wants to just basically have a straight-on charge into battle.
That's a group that I'm in.
Yeah, another group wants to kind of do research into like relics that might help, and a third group wants to kind of be all secretive and assassinate.
Pretty much.
Kind of style.
So that's the story part, and the story is actually one of the things that disappoints me a little bit more about Guild Wars 2 because it's sort of split off into the world and the lore is cool, but then you have your personal story which takes place in instances, and you go to these different instances to go do your thing. Ooh, iron. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I want to see if this guy spawned over here.
It's gorgeous.
Totally it's really cool looking, isn't it? Here, I can help this guy fight. Oh, no, he already killed it?
Wait, that was a playable character?
Yeah, that was a character.
He was transformed.
You could be a wolf?
Yeah, he turned it. Oh, I can be a bear. You want me to be a bear? Check it out. I'm a bear.
Whoa! You go, Adam.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. So anyway, so you get sent off into these. Wow. Oh man, I wrecked this harpy so good. So you get sent off into these separate instances, which are in MMO terms a space that's private to you, right? Nobody else can go be part of it. And so the problem is that they're all very heavily scripted, and there's just nothing really. Oh, that was my elite skill ending. Oh gosh. All right. The scripts are really buggy. At least for me, they have been, and they're really poorly balanced. So there have been several that I've had to just go res over and over and over and kill 2 guys and die and kill 2 guys and die.
What's the penalty for death?
It's just some money, basically.
But time, right?
Yeah, time.
That's Adam and I have talked a lot about the biggest problem that ArenaNet faces right now with this really excellently designed game that they've put together is that they have some balance issues throughout the game, both things that are too easy and things that are too hard at certain points. But they also don't do a good job of tutorializing anything. And so you can get into the game, and even if you're relatively familiar with MMOs and you play a lot of WoW or you played some Tor last year, like, there's things you just don't know that it doesn't do a good job of explaining to you. And I think that's unfortunate because there's a lot of people who don't normally play MMOs who I could see getting into this game if they knew what they were doing. But they haven't made that terribly easy for folks.
What is that? A mean cow? What is that thing?
It is a
It's
calf
the meanest
of
cow.
some sort.
It's a minotaur.
Another thing I'll point out that I really love about the game is the way that they've incentivized everything.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, and I think it's extremely important to what makes Guild Wars a lot of fun.
Yeah, so almost everything that you do has meaningful rewards to it. And those meaningful rewards most commonly connect back up to experience. Because as an MMO player, what is the thing you're usually most excited about? Ultimately, it's about leveling. It's about getting from 1 to, in this case, 80 at the level cap. And whether you are really into crafting, or you're really into gathering, or you like killing monsters, or you like doing world versus world PvP, or any number of different activities, all of them are going to get you experience that moves you towards progressing through the game.
And every time you help another player, it's good for both players because it's not like if somebody comes and helps me kill a monster that I don't get credit for it. I still get full credit for it. He gets full credit for it. And so anytime you see somebody else, you almost always want to help them, unless you're recording for the purposes of a video and you just run on by because you want to show different stuff. But like you get experience for rezzing another player that's out dead in the world. Like you get a big experience boost for that. Not a big experience boost,
but
you
enough
get
to
some
make it
experience.
worthwhile to stop,
Yeah.
right? And that whole idea of both incentivizing what you do, but also rewarding you for playing together is pretty brilliant.
It is.
Do they have spoken dialogue?
They do. It's not nearly as good as Tor. It's spoken, yes. It's not always terribly well written or acted. I mean, it's not horrible, but it does not clear the bar that Star Wars sort of made in the genre.
Tor was built around that kind of spoken dialogue. Everybody I interact with is going to be able to actually speak with me. Whereas here, there are characters who might have like a single line they say when you greet them, and then everything else is text. The ones that really get a lot of voice work are the ones that are part of the storyline that you're progressing.
Yep. And so the one thing that we're not actually showing right now, because there's queues and it's a pain in the butt, is here's an event. Here we go. We're gonna go check this out. So you can see I got all this stuff on my UI, which just disappeared because I stepped just outside the area. But we're just gonna. I can't teleport it because I just got in combat. Gosh darn it! Oh, but this is a cool thing. These guys are actually fighting each other. These mobs are fighting because they're hostile to each other. Oh, and I'm totally gonna die.
Get out of there!
I'm working on it. Hold on.
Use
Everything's
medicine.
fine.
I will actually be fine because I'm pretty awesome.
Well,
Don't die to some blue crabs.
This is a good example of what we were talking about, right? Like this is an area that Adam's character is well past the level for, but it's still dangerous. Like there's the monsters there can still cause problems.
That seemed like a pretty huge zone. Are most of them
It's gigantic. Everything's freaking huge in this game. It's ridiculous. And like they're all really handcrafted. Like all the bits are really cool. It's like you don't ever run into some of the things you run into in other games where it's just this house copy and pasted across an entire zone, right? It's impressive.
And one of the things I've been hearing about the game is people enjoy jumping around and finding like these like Assassin's Creed viewpoints.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They're basically these little things that you can see on your map where they are, but getting to them is a whole nother trick. It's usually some sort of little platforming challenge. And at the end, you end up like up in this really cool place. And you think about other MMOs that you've played, and sometimes you'll be walking along and you'll see some dude and be like, how in the heck did that guy get to the top of that mountain cliff and is looking out at me from up there? It just looks really cool to be up there. And this game has actually made a point of rewarding you for doing that, like at very particular places.
Oh, I have completely screwed this up.
Now the game came out a couple weeks ago. What's the retail price? Like $60, $70,
I think it's 60.
$59,
Yeah, I think it's right. It's
And-
that initial $60 price
and then it's
point.
free to play after that. Are you seeing ways that they're going to try to make some money off people, or is it just you just play it and maybe an expansion you'll buy?
The system that they seem to be putting into place, although it's still kind of fleshing out, and they don't really have this active, or I think maybe just today they activated the trading post, right?
Yes, the trading. Well, it had been active before for like a half
Right.
an hour and then got taken down.
And the
but-
trading post is the equivalent for WoW players of the auction house. But in addition to that, it has this system of, I think they're called gems. Is that what it is?
That's right. They're gems.
And that's how they're kind of monetizing. These are things that get you little interesting extra things that you could buy. But it really, to their credit, I would say, ArenaNet has designed a game that feels very complete in its own right out of the box. I have played the first full week or so, week and a half, I guess now, of time through the game without having to mess with anything related to real money, and it's been fine.
Yeah, it's pretty minimal what they're charging for. It's not bad at all. Oh, what is why? Where are all these guys coming from? Oh gosh.
But you can see this is actually part of one of those sort of dynamic events that's just occurring in the world. And other players could join in or not join in, and it will dynamically shift the difficulty and the number of enemies based on who jumps in.
No, I don't play a lot of MMOs. I tried playing Star Wars with you guys until you were like, see you later, Reiner. We're going to go play something else. And you just left me high and dry, Miller. One thing people complain about is they put in 200 hours and then they say, like, well, the end game's not very good. This game sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You're up to level 55, the cap 60, I would imagine? 8. Oh, my goodness. Have you heard anything about the end game stuff yet? Is there depth in that to keep people playing?
So most of what is going on endgame wise is why are all these fabricators? It's because there's too many people in the zone that aren't helping me. Oh gosh. It's from what I can tell, it's mostly the world v world stuff is what they're kind of hoping is the end game, and that's certainly what the people that I know that are higher level that are doing, and it's a lot of what I'm kind of doing more of as I've gotten higher. And that's the open world PvP that pits server against server, and it's really cool. But it's really hard to show on a test chamber.
Right.
Which is why I'm not doing that right now. But,
And have they talked about what's coming next?
not really. I mean, I think what we're all hoping comes next is better server performance. It has been...
Just getting booted or signing in? What's the
laggy.
problem?
So one of the problems is that, I mean, this game has so much... action to its combat, right? Like, you can see, like, things are dodging, like, it's all action-based. It feels a lot more like an action game than an MMO in some ways. But what that means is that it kind of goes to crap in any kind of lag. And so even a little bit of lag is really detrimental to this game's performance and the experience of playing it. And so even, the little bit that I have been getting at some prime times, this is still kind of launch week almost for the game, has been really problematic.
There's also the dilemma that the game is in some ways too popular for its own good right now, because these dynamic events are the most fun, in my experience, when they are like what you're seeing right now, where there's maybe 2 to 5, maybe up to 10 people at the top end who are engaging in this big fight for a particular objective. But what ends up happening is there's so many people right now playing that the dynamic events just devolve into absolute chaos. I mean, what you're seeing on screen right now is just from a couple of players.
This is really chill.
Imagine multiplying that by 20, and that's what some of the battles are like. You have a huge number of players and a bunch of monsters, which is pretty crazy to watch, but it also maybe makes it a little harder to feel like you're being strategic or having interesting gameplay.
I fought a dragon yesterday out in the overworld with 300 players maybe? It was a lot.
And we're playing this on a pretty beefy machine right now.
Super beefy. This machine is awesome.
What's in this thing?
This is a GTX 680 and fairly brand new top-of-the-line Ivy Bridge processor and a ton of RAM and an SSD and everything. It's a great machine.
Now, for the video's sake, we had to scale back the graphics down to 720p.
Which obviously looks terrible.
Yeah, it's just, looks like Wii. There's 2 Wii fans out there that are like, oh, god damn it, Reiner.
But, I haven't really heard anybody complaining. I mean, I play on a pretty beefy machine at home as well. I haven't really heard anybody complaining about the scalability of it, about how it runs on low-end machines.
Yeah, the machine that I play on at home is not terribly impressive, and it's running just fine. Certainly better than several other MMOs that have come out in the last year that I played on that machine. Without naming too many names.
They're all dead.
Well, this has definitely been the talk of the PC world, I would say, this year. Obviously, Diablo 3 came out. There was a lot of angst toward that game.
Mm-hmm.
Guild Wars 2, it seems like most people are really happy with what they played so far.
Generally speaking, I would say. It's certainly a lot more positive. By the way, I made this sword. This is a sword I crafted for myself, which apparently what I did was I made a bunch of swords and then a bunch more swords and then pasted them all together to make a giganto sword.
You would make a great Final Fantasy character.
Right?
All right, well, I think that's a great look at the game here. I probably won't play it at this point. You guys are way too far up in level.
It doesn't take that long to level.
That's what you guys said with Tor, and then you just left me.
But, that's one of the cool things here is that if you have a friend that comes in and joins at a low level, you can totally go and play with them and be in their starting zone, and it's worthwhile.
I'm not falling for your trap again, Miller. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.